So let's talk a little bit about radicals. We've seen these before. We talked about it in class. When you do the cube root, that's what this 3 out front here means. It's the cube root. It's not like cube root, square root, combined, whatever. This, what is normally a square root, this radical here, this part right here, now it's a cube root because of this 3. Here it's a 4th root because of this 4. It's not a 4th square root, it's a 4th root. Cube root is the same as 8 to the 1/3. You can raise it to the 1/3, much like the square root of 16 is the same as 16 to the 1/2. Well, the 4th root of 81, is the same as 81 to the 1/4. And we're going to use that with our calculators. So we're going to use our calculator to simplify the expression, and people have a tough time with this. First off, this 3 right here is part of the cube root of 27. When I type this in my calculator, since I don't have a calculator on this right now, I would write it like this: 3 parentheses 27 raised to the 1/3. Now some of you will have a nice little box to put that 1/3 in, and that's no problem. Those of you that don't, it'll look something like this: a caret, and then you need to make sure you put parentheses 1/3. There are other ways of doing this. Depending on your teacher, you may be taught a different way. This is how I like to teach it. If you plug this into your calculator like this, you should get the correct answer of 9. This next one's a little trickier. Here I have a cube root and the whole thing is squared. So let's start out with, we have 2 times, and I got to do the cube root of negative 64. Well, the whole thing needs to be squared, so I'm just going to put a big set of parentheses around it. And then I'm going to have the cube root of negative 64. So negative 64 raised to the 1/3. Notice how I have a couple sets of parentheses going on there. Anytime I have a fraction, I put it in parentheses. And then we're going to add 7 at the end. And this should give us 39. You can also do cube roots or any roots by hitting the math button on your calculator and choosing the one that is like a 3 and then a square root, or and then a radical next to it, so 3 and then a radical, or the one that has x and then a radical. That x will allow you to put any number in front of the radical there, so you could have 4th root, 5th root, 6th root. So if you do that, it'll look a little different. This is how I like to do it myself, but everybody can choose their own way.